Cool job.
It's a powered paraglider from paradrenaline.com in Phoenix. It takes off short, lands short, as you can see.
Yeah, I thought you were going to run over me.
Yeah, very safe to fly, and I knew where I was going.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay. I knew where I wasn't going to hit you. And the trick is taking off, as you can see in the video, getting that sail centered above you. Then you give it the gas and go, and you're off the ground in about 20 feet.
Right on. And how do you steer?
Oh, you pull down on there's the back of the wing.
Okay.
They're called brakes.
Brakes.
They look like airplane flaps, but you pull one side down, it slows that wing down, so you turn that way.
Gotcha.
You pull the other side down, and it slows that wing down, so you turn this way.
Okay.
It only goes about 20 miles an hour, so it's quite safe. This is the most fun flying I've done. I've flown regular airplanes, weight shift trikes, you know, the big hang gliders.
Right.
And now this is the most fun so far.
Very good.
And I don't know where the CloudBusters aimed, but I think we got rid of some smog over there. We got rid of the smog over there earlier.
Pretty clear.
It was brown smog all the way around here before.
It looks like moisture at this point.
Most of the smog is going away right now. That's just from that little CloudBuster.
Right.
So this is Salton Sea in Imperial Valley, California. Tomorrow, if weather permits, I aim to drop a whole lot of tower busters in the salt lake there. And it's going to clean up the pesticides and the poisons that the farmers put into it. It's going to bring the fish back. And it's going to make the whole atmosphere brighter. We'll probably see sylphs tomorrow.
You see a big difference next year when we come back.
We'll probably see sylphs. I'll take a picture.
All right.
Hey, if you turn this camera around, look that way. And the smog is gone now, by the way.
It looks all white on here.
Directly where you're pointing is where Dr. Wilhelm Reich put a CloudBuster in 1954 and made it rain and grass grew all through the Imperial Valley, through Arizona into New Mexico.
Well, we need Mr. Reich to come back because it's pretty brown around here.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. If I can drop organite in the mountains, right there, on either side of where Reich did it, in Mexico and in the United States, it's probably going to break down that desert barrier that was created a long time ago.
Right on.
Now, Carol doused the map. She marked it for me. And she said where Reich did his CloudBuster, the energy is still very good in that area, about a 10-mile stretch. Before it was a barrier.
Right.
Where no water could pass it. On the other side of that ridge, the Sawtooth Mountains, it's green. But then on the east side, it's dead. And that's an energy dynamic. And Dr. Reich saw that and he reversed it. But CloudBusters that Dr. Reich used only have a temporary effect. Organite has a permanent effect.
Right on.
As far as we can tell, after 13 years, the effects are permanent.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the Paratoys 2013 Salton Sea Fly-In. Those of you interested in participating in the race around the knob, the smallest glider that you can enter is a...
That's crazy.
Here we are at the Salton Sea in Imperial Valley, Southern California, and we're at a powered paraglider fly-in. And when we got here, it was so smoggy and brown, it looked just like LA used to look. See those mountains? You couldn't even see those mountains. Take a shot. Also, you couldn't see across the Salton Sea.
Kind of hard to see through the motorhomes. It's over there, trust me.
Okay. I was just playing around with this CloudBuster, which I made from my little yellow Kitfox ultralight plane. It goes in the wing strut. And just for a joke, I pointed it that way, and within an hour all the smog was gone. So yeah, people around me are pretty amazed, and they saw that it worked. And I'd never used this for that before. So then I pointed it across the lake, and the smog disappeared over there. And pretty soon, it all disappeared, all the way from north to south on that side. So I pointed it over there, to the east where those mountains are. Over there. And those mountains appeared after about an hour. Okay. So the next day, which was yesterday, I drove up into the Sawtooth Mountains with 120 tower busters. I distributed about 80 along the front side of those mountains over to where Dr. Reich originally had his cloud buster. And if you pan the camera around, you'll see a range, the range on the left where it meets the ground. You don't see any mountains after that. Just beyond that range is the Sawtooth Range, and that's where the old desert barrier was created by God knows who. But before that, there was no desert here, I'm sure of that, and Dr. Reich was sure of that. So he put his cloudbuster up right there in the mountain pass. You might want to look at that. I'll point.
Way down there.
Okay. Beyond that first range of mountains, you can see very faint outline of the mountains in Mexico that line up with the Sawtooth Mountains. Dr. Reich put his cloudbuster right in the middle of those in a pass in 1954, and he made it green grass all through this desert and all the way into Mexico, across Arizona. This desert is called the Sahara of California. And when Reich was done, it was all green. There was grass growing everywhere. Now, as soon as he left, it started changing back to desert again. Because the old Reich cloudbusters, they didn't have a permanent effect like these do. Now, these cloudbusters, they work 24/7. I've got a cloudbuster that's 12 years old, and it works now just as well as it did when I made it. And well, anybody who works with organite understands this. It just never stops transmuting bad energy to good energy. So, and we base this invention on Dr. Reich's work. We based it on that, and we pay attention to what he found and build on that when we can. So I went up there, and it was all, there was no clouds in the sky. You see clouds all around now, especially over there. If you look again at the barrier, you'll see very dense clouds, very, very dense clouds along a line there. And that's it. Over there it's raining, or it was, and snowing. When I was done about 3 o'clock, it started raining all through this valley, downwind of that spot, so that was south of here. But when I came through the pass, I saw heavy rain clouds everywhere to the north. I thought it was raining here. I don't think it did, though. And it was, I had to drive through snow up there. Good thing I had four-wheel drive. It was a blizzard, actually. Reich first found this barrier because he was very intuitive and very sensitive to energy. He disliked mysticism, so he wouldn't have called himself psychic, but I think he was. And that's how he understood how to heal people and how to heal the atmosphere. Well, he noticed that it was all desert on this side of the Sawtooth Mountains, all green on the other side. It's a pine forest over there on the other side. On this side, it turns into desert. And by the time you get to the range that you see, it's all desert.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to change all that. I was hoping to fly up there and drop the organite. It's actually better to put it along the ridges and mountaintops. My wife pointed out the areas on the map in Mexico and in California where I could go. She noticed that the area where Reich was, she felt that it was still very positive and it didn't need any organite. So oftentimes when you put up a cloudbuster, you may make a blue hole in the sky, you may cause a rainstorm, and it may last for weeks. And after you've taken it down. We found this out the first time in Florida, and let's see, March 2001. We put our first organite cloudbuster together. We set it up in Florida for probably 3 hours and took it apart to drive up north. And when I got back, we were staying at a RV campground. I call them refugee camps. When we got back there, the neighbors who I knew said, "Wow, you wouldn't believe how it rained here after you left. It rained for 2 weeks." So yeah, we were gone for more than 2 weeks. And when you look at radar, weather radar, when that happens in an area where there aren't any cloudbusters within range, that there is no place on Earth like that now, except maybe China and the middle of the ocean, because there are tens of thousands of cloudbusters now, organite cloudbusters. You'll see a blue hole or a blue storm, a rain cloud storm on radar that will just persist, and it's gentle rain. It's not ruinous. It's not. You rarely see lightning when there's a cloudbuster nearby. You rarely have torrential rains or downpours. You know, it's all very gentle and it soaks into the ground, so there's very little flooding, even in places like this. How much more you want to do? Anyway, I'll show you this cloudbuster. This goes in the wing, so if I'm flying, it's like this. You know, by the wing struts.
Yeah.
I put a sucker punch in there. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. It has a zapper circuit in there, and it's a 9-volt battery.
I know.
This is a Lemurian seed crystal that never breaks. A lot of other crystals will break if you try to do this because the energy input is too strong for it. So I put a little bit of obsidian on there. Obsidian enhances the negative energy absorbing effect quite a lot. They're all very fond of using obsidian that way. And a Mexican friend of ours who does a lot of gifting, who's a Yaqui Indian, he said that obsidian was more precious than gold when the Spanish came. Obsidian was more precious than gold. And we believe it's because of the energy qualities. Well, Carol prescribed the stones for this cloudbuster. I don't have a clue what's in it. You can see some. She asked me to put a whole lot of gemstones in there. A little brass in the bottom. Every time you put a different metal in something, it produces another subtle energy effect. And this is mostly significant for interactive devices, of course. I had been pointing my sucker punches out, and then when Sesko Sojiu came to visit from Iceland one time, he said, "Oh, why don't you try pointing it at the base?" So I did it with this. I can take this out and turn it around. And the way I find where to put the sucker punch is to douse it. I douse the location, and I always test my dowsing. I asking Carol to look at it, and she said, "Yeah, when you put it there, that's where it's strongest." So we're in the habit of using psychics for science research, and the psychics use each other for that too. They're constantly looking for feedback and to make sure that they're not just being influenced by the sewer rats, psychor, or else just imagining it. But these psychics are not egotistical, you know. They're pretty selfless. They love working together. So the psychics that are lone wolves and hold on to their own opinion to the death, we haven't found them to be very useful for research work. Although they do great work by themselves, typically. Oh, we respect that.